Hello. Welcome to our episode of Empowered Journeys with Dawn. And as you can see, I'm here with my co host today, Clivia Allen. And she has been a friend of mine for a minute now, a little bit of a minute now. And I'm very excited to have her here to co-host with me so we can talk about
Hey y'all.
talk about forgiveness. And that's her link. You go to her website, young lady that has a lot of gifts and talents in her, and she has become a very integral part of my life. So I'd like, even though I said that, I want her to introduce herself and give her background and the things that she wants to share today.
Awesome. Thank you, Dawn. Such a pleasure to sit next to you. And if you guys, we really hope you've been staying in touch with Dawn. She featured her first episode last week where we talked about, so here I am. She said introduce me, but I'm talking about her. Always doing that, but she was able to talk about her book, her newly released Forgiving Forward, and from wounds to willingness, and I'm a person, I love supporting, I love pushing, and Dawn introduced me to the word midwife. So I'm going to introduce myself and I'll add the word midwife to that. So I am Clivia Allen, originally from the beautiful twin island of Trinidad and Tobago, migrated, I should say, to Brooklyn, New York, resided there for 30 plus years. And now I'm currently living in Florida with my two children. I am divorced, which is part of my story. Not to say that's where my story started, but that's where I was able to experience so many things life threw at me. And with grace and mercy, I am here today. I am the proud owner of Chosen 31 Essentials, also our parent company, Chosen Veteran Enterprise. And with that, I, again, just always encouraging other women, especially women, now single parents, divorced women, women that are married but maybe going through situations, or just people trying to figure it out. Not to say I'm the plug, but I am the plug. I publish books. I once upon a time had a dance camp for 13 years, so I'm pouring back in to that ministry of healing through dance, and also interviewing women, where I had the pleasure of interviewing Dawn last November of 2024, sharing part of her story. It wasn't her whole story, and more to come on that. But it's just a pleasure to be able to do what I love, wake up knowing that today's going to be a great day because God gave me the opportunity to walk in my purpose. And to mention 12-week journey of healing with Chosen 31 Circle is something new. And it's because I had to go through a journey and I didn't go through it alone. So now I'm sharing that with others where they can go through a journey beyond 12 weeks, but that to remind them they're not alone in that journey. And Dawn had the pleasure of being a beta tester with that. And,
Awesome.
we could talk about that and how that has even helped produce what is happening today.
Yeah,
in this series.
next time I'm going to make sure I put that on there because that's something that um, I'm hoping that more will reach out and do that because there's so many people that need to breathe and need to begin their healing.
Yeah.
And that to me, I think was the beginning of, I mean, I had already started my journey of what my book is about, but that actually helped put things into perspective for myself.
Yeah.
Because even though I was working or thinking, I wasn't even thinking about a book to tell you the truth, but when I was in my life, forgiving forward and living the life of this book, I didn't have a place or words to put to what I was going through. And then I didn't also have a place to release. And with your 12 step, or it's 12, 12 step, it's 12-week journey, that has been amazing because it allowed me to breathe for 6 minutes a week and then going back with the journaling with that and being able to be comfortable in my thoughts and safe in that place and then to be able to talk it with you. It was awesome. So that actually, and then from that it actually gave me the courage, and then we talked about it, and because you are a creative mind, you said, hey, we need to put your story into a book because others are going through this and they need to have some type of guide, or at least let them know that they're not alone.
Yeah.
And that's
So
where
true.
the birth of, from this midwife, the birth of Forgiving Forward came into play, and other things are now being birthed from that. So to tell you the truth, the 12-week journey, even though I was part of the beta, that's something that I'm able to now continue to go back to,
Yeah.
because it's a to me it's a living thing.
Yeah.
It's a living thing.
Yeah.
So I thank you for that, and
You're
I
welcome.
cannot wait until the other things that you're giving birth to comes into play, because I'm all in whatever it is, because I trust what you're doing. I trust who God has made you to be, and I'm excited that He's allowed me to jump on this journey with you and you with
Yeah.
me, because that's what it's about, community.
Divine assignment. And
Absolutely.
I mean, again, we know I mentioned it in the book promo for your book. The way we met, it was not what we expected would have birthed what's happening right now, right? We thought we would have been coworkers,
Yes.
and yeah, and we just went beyond that, and it wasn't our plan. And that's why, for me, trust God in everything, because you never know who's knocking at your door or who's waiting for you, because we all have people assigned to us. And I would say Dawn was assigned to me, and there's a community out there, even through this platform, where they'll be able to meet the person they've been waiting for, not even knowing, oh my God, this is the person that I needed. So I'm honored to be on your platform, and and I'm going to help Dawn,
Yes.
because there's certain things she may have forgot to say, but this is a 4-part series.
Yeah.
And we're just going to dive into the importance of forgiveness, right?
Yeah.
And I have a story.
Mhm.
Dawn shared part of us. That's only a teeny bit
Yeah.
of what this forgiveness looks like. And many of you may question, well, I don't have to forgive because I didn't do anything, or, there's so many layers to this. So
Yeah.
I'm, again, excited that we're able to do this together, right? Because I'm still learning. And that's why, even when editing this book and reading it through and doing all the things during the project, I'm like, oh yeah. And God spoke to me one morning. We'll talk about that in one of the other parts. But because of this book, I was able to work on something that I never thought I would have done. It's not now, maybe in my 60s, maybe.
Wow.
So
I didn't see, and wow, that's an answered prayer. Because my prayer when I finished the book, and yes, Clivia is publisher and editor, one of the editors of my book. My prayer is that anybody that even looks at the title, read the book, hears about the book, that God meets them where they are to heal that place, heal that little girl, heal that little boy, heal that wound, wherever they are, wherever that is, and to produce or push out whatever it is that He has created them to do. So that has been my prayer. And to hear that, I mean, I'm pretty sure you mentioned that before, but it didn't hit until just now. I don't know.
I know, because I'm like, we talked about this last week.
But that's funny, because I didn't realize, I guess it just
the
hit just
impact.
now, the impact. But that is what, because this book is not me, really. It's God.
And we're pointing but it's right here.
I'm sorry.
This is what we're referring to. Forgiving Forward. It's available now.
It's Amazon, or link in the description. But with that's all God, because there's no way that I would have been able to even go through this journey with this particular situation, unless it was God. Because I could have very well, and people would have been and still saying, Dawn, you could have just walked away, and I could have, but I decided, and I chose to listen to what God was telling me, even though it was hard. I'm glad you touched on people saying, listen, getting into our episode today, the title of it is How to Start Forgiving Forward, the 3 gentle steps to begin your healing journey. One thing you did also mention is that what you gave birth to, or what you was able to do with reading that, you thought that you would be doing that later in your 60s, or you didn't know when that was going to happen.
Maybe never. Maybe just keeping it in my journal.
Exactly. And but that's also part of healing. But it's also, it's one of those things that you don't know what to do, or you could just say, "Oh, I forgave so and so." I've done that
Mm-hmm.
and didn't realize I didn't really fully forgive that person because of every time the person's name or the situation was
Mm-hmm.
brought up, it brought up those feelings again. And that's when I realized, oh, I really
Yeah.
didn't forgive,
Yeah.
not wholeheartedly. So how do I do this?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's very layered. It's something that you may have to continuously do.
Yeah.
There's been a situation that we discussed today with me forgiving my dad. It wasn't a one-shot deal with this, with forgiving my mother-in-law. It wasn't a one and done. It was
Right.
something that is still
It's a
progressing.
process.
It's a process. And
Yeah.
each time I'm able to share or to pour into others to help them on their forgiveness journey, it's still also helping me
Yeah.
continuing to forgive.
Yeah.
So
So good.
yeah. so with people asking, okay, so how do I forgive? Because where do I begin? How do I do that? I can't do that. I will tell you right now, you're not going to be able to do it by yourself.
Right.
But there are very tiny, gentle steps that you can take towards that forgiveness, and it's a gradual thing.
Mm-hmm.
And number one on this 3-step journey of the gentle journeys or gentle steps, I would say acknowledge the wound.
Right.
Don't hide it. Don't say, "Oh, I don't really feel that." I don't really, that really didn't really hurt me. I'm good. That was my big thing. I'm good. I'm good. I'm so good, but you're not.
Yeah.
Because what ends up happening, especially if you've already had an opening in that, I've always downplayed it because I always wanted to make the other person feel good. I mean, have you ever been in a situation like that where you downplayed, like, "Oh no, I'm good. I'm all right. That didn't really."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, current situation that I had to let go of someone last year. It could have been done in 2023, but still holding on, saying I'm good. But then again, going back to that word we mentioned of suffering in silence, right? That silent cry where I'm good. No.
Yeah.
And my sister could read me so well. She'd be like, "Your fake smile." She was like, "What happened?" I was like, "I'm good," So definitely it's been, it is a journey. And sometimes situation comes up. We don't know sometimes. I remember even saying, accepting the Christ, accepting the Lord at age 7, being baptized at 8. I knew what I wanted, but also wondered, well, if I did this so young, what sin will I commit? What would God have to forgive me for? So even with forgiveness, he forgave us for things that we don't even have a clue, like forgiveness, what? And then life happens, right? We have the term now, life is lifing. And I never thought that I would have been in certain positions and situations where I had to pull out that forgiveness card, even when I didn't want, even when it wasn't even my fault, So yeah,
a lot of times that happens, and that's what happened in mine as well. I mean, and some people could say, like, I know for sure that it wasn't my fault, and I know for sure it wasn't your fault. But there are situations where, you could have. I know other situations that I was in. I was part fault with that, and I had to forgive myself and ask for forgiveness.
Yeah.
But the thing with acknowledging the wound, the first thing is to acknowledge it, but we also have to give it a name.
Yeah. Wow.
Because you cannot heal what you don't confront.
Right.
You got to confront it. It is what it is. I mean, what we talked about today, that wound for me was rejection. And it happened. I thought it was 7. My mom said it was 11 years old. That was a seed of rejection. So from there, my eyes through life, what I thought, felt, that was rejection. So it was piling on, even in this situation with dealing with my book or the situation that I'm in with my mother-in-law, it was also rejection.
Same
here.
And again, sometimes we don't know what's gonna come, and when it comes, like you said, give it a name. And sometimes you don't even realize it when you're in it, like, oh yeah, and when things started to happen, I'm like, dang, I'm not enough. Dang, I'm not seen. And again, I had to also, very important, I had to forgive myself. So acknowledging those wounds, I had to say, you know what? It's not your fault, Queen. But I forgive them. And now I'm able to push forward. I'm able to, because even acknowledging that, okay, the word repentance, right? repentance means to turn away from. And then when you repent, then God then, okay, she acknowledged it. She's accountable for whatever it is.
That's it.
Here's a forgiveness, that I'm not even going to remember. And then we always go back to those wounds. Why open it when it's like it's already done? But then because we're human and we feel it, and those triggers that we talk about, so it comes with forgiving ourselves for beating ourselves up, especially according to the situation, but also I would call it, again, that forgiveness card that needs to be pulled out.
Yeah.
Even when we don't even understand.
Yeah. Don't understand it at all. And don't even realize, okay, well, why do I need to?
Right.
Why do I need to do that?
I'm not the one doing the rejection, but I'm receiving it. And
it's turning into pain. And to be honest about it, being honest about it doesn't make you weak. It makes you actually strong, that you can actually visualize, because now I know what I need to go after.
Yeah.
Now I need to know. Now I know what I need to start to ask for God to help me to heal.
Yeah. And even as you do that, and if there's a situation that it happens again, you know how to handle it.
That part.
And
that's part of having,
and that's growth and strength. And
yes. And that's part of having, remember we talked about last week when we talked about having that turning your baggage into wisdom and having that toolkit of wisdom.
Yes.
That's part of that toolkit, because you're not going to go through life not having situations where you're going to have to forgive.
Exactly.
Because people are going to do things, because people are people.
People are people.
People are people. And whether it's the people that you know or don't know, So that's our first step. Acknowledging it, write it down if you have to. Let's sit with it, but don't stay there.
Yeah.
Don't stay there. That you don't want to do that, because you don't want to keep carrying that, because right now you're carrying that silent wound. All right. So let's go to step 2. Step 2 would be separate the person from the pain. Now, this is the forward moving part. And it may mean, it does mean releasing the pain. You have to release that pain that you're holding. I'm not saying release. Some situations definitely release the person, because that's what you're doing. You're releasing the person. You're not saying that the person didn't do what they did. And right now we're talking about people that did things, right? So we're not saying that they didn't do that. We're not saying that we're not letting them off the hook, but that's God's job. You holding on to them is only hurting yourself.
Yeah.
Right? That's one thing that we don't really realize, is that we deserve to be free. And because we're not letting them go, 9 times out of 10, they're not even thinking about what we see. She didn't even, the thing is, I was telling my husband the other day, she didn't even know, in fact, to this day, she doesn't realize what she did, or that I knew. I won't say that. She doesn't know that I know, I know what took place.
Right.
She just knows that I never was mean to her.
Right.
And now I'm not going to give too much. You'll see. It's a whole different thing.
Go to read the book.
Read the book, because it's a whole different thing. So, wow, yeah. You deserve peace. You deserve, I'm sorry, because I just thought about that, and I'm thinking about the freedom.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will tell you.
And I'm going to pick up something that you just put down.
I'm sorry. I just had a little moment.
Releasing. That's something I had to do. I had to release the person that I looked up to from birth to adulthood. Because of that situation, I realized, 1, it had nothing to do with me. 2, I was carrying something I didn't have to carry, but I became, and some of you, because this is on Empowered Journey with Dawn. So those of you that know me from #her story, her children's story, as I interview people, I would sometimes interject and share my own story. Or if you follow AM Affirmation, that's, I call that my therapy space, right? Where I'm able to, I've shared so much of me, so transparent with what I've been through. And forgiveness, and I shared that with Dawn, we spoke about it maybe 3 times already. And to understand how deep, and again, the layers of forgiveness. And I had to release this person. I was advised to release them. And I'm like, release them? Yeah. No. Yeah. I want them to pay. I want them to feel it. I want them to die even, because I was holding such a grudge.
Yeah.
But then when I was prayed with, and again, the advice was release them.
Yes.
And I said, okay, God, I'm going to release them.
Yeah.
I'm giving them to you. The thought, yes, is still there. But even with that release, such a peace came over me.
It's called freedom. And that's why I'm going to quote a quote from myself from my book. Forgiveness isn't about forgetting. It is choosing to remember without the weight. The soul's way of unclenching its fists.
So good.
And you saw how you did that.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And when you let it go,
it was two hands. Because
two hands. Yes, it was that. It was that.
I was because listen, even with that, then we
Yes.
think about boxers. Just and I had this tight grip on the situation.
Yeah.
And
That's
even
real.
the release, even my hands, and we're talking about worship.
Ooh, worship and surrender.
I was able to
That's
just
surrender.
lift so high. Oh, glory to God.
That's surrender.
That is so good.
Yes, that is surrender.
So good.
And that's what and then you open it up for him to be able to do the work that we can't do on our own.
Yeah.
Which is to heal you, is to help you through your journey of healing.
Yeah.
Because then he wants to show you other things. If we're doing this and we're covering our hearts because we're doing this, right? Our hearts are not open for him to pour into our hearts to do what he wants to do to push out the things that he's put into us so that we can forgive others.
The soul's way of unclenching is fists. So good. So good. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. See, this
it's emotional.
Listen, I know.
Holding back tears.
I know. I am too. And yeah, it's because it's layered.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: those tears, as you taught me, because I used to be ashamed of my tears. It's part of your healing.
Oh yeah, those are stories.
It's definitely stories.
Yeah.
And I noticed that I cried more before I began the journey of healing.
Yeah.
Because I was holding in so much.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that safe space. And that's why I created this space and the spaces that I've created through the book that we'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
Because I want to create a space, I keep saying space, for it to be safe.
Yeah.
That you can let this out. You can be in and feel that pain, but I'm going to help you through that pain.
Yeah.
Because you have to go through it so you can build off of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're
good.
gonna go because there's so many layers to forgiveness, like you said. This can go on and will go on.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that if you're able to come back to the video and take notes or
and drop a comment or questions.
Yeah, because I will go back and look at them and I will respond, and then hope, praying that you guys will come back, because we're going to do this a 4-part, but this is also still part of Empowered Journeys with Dawn. And then click over to her story. Okay, so we're going to go to our last step, but not the end of this show. The last step is to refill what was drained. Forgiveness is not just a release, it's a return. What is it a return to? It's a return to your voice. I lost my voice.
Same.
Lost my voice. I returned to your boundaries. I didn't have boundaries. You know why I didn't have boundaries? Because I was protecting everybody. I want everybody to be happy. Meanwhile, while I'm smiling and looking like the smiling lady until eventually the smile left, I was dying inside, doing all of that. Return to your joy. The joy left. You would think that, look at her, she's having a good time. No, ma'am, I'm not having a good time. I'm sitting over here and I'm crumbling because of the things that's going on. So that's what did you find what was happening to you when you wasn't able to release it? What you was feeling?
Feeling of just, not to say loneliness, that rejected feeling, because again, this was someone, and again, there's different things I could talk about, but focusing on what has happened within my family, right? Disappointment, very disappointed. And I think even with that, I had like this, I never really used this word, but nonchalant presence, right? Where it was now growing up in the church, being so involved in certain things, relocating again, just mentioning my sister, she thinks that I was running, even though my release came, I want to say it was January 2023 when I had to release one person, but I still had this other fist, release them sometime last year, right? So even with that, the thoughts would always come back, because then talking to God is like remembering certain things, but then him saying, you got to do this if you want to receive. If you want me to pour in, I can't pour in if your heart is hardened. So I had to release that discouragement, that disappointment. I had to be okay with being okay. Right. And again, it's a progress, because I know if I'm to go back home, there's still certain things I would not do. And that's a boundary that I have.
That's it.
So you won't see me on certain properties.
That's right.
Right.
It's important.
You may not see me at the funeral according to the arrangement.
Right. Here's the thing.
And
that's okay. And that's one of the things that I'm glad you said that, because you are now protecting yourself, and that is what you need to do. You need to protect your heart. You need to protect your space.
And that helps me walk in that freedom. That's
excellent.
Yeah, because if I don't do that, then I'll still be holding on to something.
Yes.
You know, but even the fact last week, I literally sent a text thanking them for raising me to become the woman that I am today. Like, thank you so much. Right. And I could have mentioned, and I'm not that person to say, although you messed up.
Right. You need to put that petty
although
hat
a lot
on.
of things are broken. Right. Although things are broken, that would be my sister. Let me tell y'all. Although things are broken, so to speak, thank you. You know, and that was growth, because I would have not even cared to say that. But again, the word said to honor.
Right.
And that's what I've been doing. And that also helps me remember, in spite of whatever that situation, I have to honor these people.
You do, but you also have to honor you.
Yeah.
And honor your heart. And honor your space. And honor your healing. And honor your boundaries.
Yeah.
And honor your value. And I'm glad that you took the time to put boundaries in place, because that's going to help protect you. And also it's going to teach your kids. Your kids are watching.
Yeah.
They may not know the details, but they seeing the mommy standing on business about stuff.
Yeah.
And then you also have your heart open where things are happening and God is blessing, and he's just loading you up with things, because he's watching what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, honoring them doesn't mean be run over or allow things to happen and you fall apart in the corner somewhere.
Exactly.
And you know, there's no,
and that honor, because again, it doesn't go as deep as what it should look like, but I'm not going to disrespect you. Right. But again, there's this line that I drew that don't cross it,
and
we good.
Yeah. So there. So there. This was such a good episode. Well, I'm honored here, and I want to recap really quickly. We went through the 3 steps: was acknowledge the wound. Make sure you write that wound down so we know, you know where to begin. Separate the person from the pain, because it doesn't have anything to do with them. It has everything to do with you and your healing, because now it's about you. Release them. Release that fist, because you want God to be able to heal your heart, because that's what needs to happen. And then refill, because you deserve to be refilled and refreshed, and put up your boundaries. You know, refill what was drained and replace it with what God has for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited about doing these journeys, and what I've done, or what God has done, because I don't have nothing to do with this. He's birthed a couple of programs from my book, Forgiving Forward, from Wounds to Willingness, a daughter-in-law's journey of grace, and the things that he has created thus far is 3 separate programs that I've put together. And the first one, but surprisingly enough, is not something that I've been promoting. And you'll see it down on the ticker. Is from survival to stability. And that, to me, that's the entry door. That's where you gain the clarity of what's going on with you. That's the clarity. That's my 90-minute one-on-one coaching. I love doing the one-on-one, because I want to give you your personalized, or I won't say give you, let me rephrase that. I'm going to help you build your own personal step-by-step plan to move forward to your stability, and whatever that is and whatever that looks for you. The next thing would be your caregiver rejuvenation. Now, at first I based it on caregiving for the elderly in nursing home, which it is. I do base, because while we've been dealing with our type of caregiving for our loved one, we put her in a nursing home, but it didn't stop there, because we still do what we have to do. We are there every day, making
Mhm.
sure she's straight. Even though we're not turning sheets and stuff like that and changing her, we're still there every single day, making sure she's straight. So it doesn't stop there.
Mhm.
And I noticed that caregivers themselves don't have a safe space to talk or to release or to refill or to rejuvenate. So I created this space for that in specific. But
So
it
good.
also is a space for single moms. I was a single mom raising two kids. You're a single mom raising two kids.
Mhm.
We need to rejuvenate too. And I don't want to hear you telling me I don't have time, because you do. If you have time to go to the bathroom, you have time to use the tools that I will give you
Mhm.
to be able to rejuvenate.
Yeah.
So it's for that as well. And then and that's starting the process of journey. The 6 week forgiveness is the deep dive. The 6 week, I have this is where we're going to really go into um, the nitty gritty, of what's going on and how we can do the things that we were talking about today, how we do those steps. I'm going to give you tools for that. I'm going to walk you through. We're going to hold hands. We're going to cry together, because I'm still on the journey too.
Mhm.
I'm not off the journey. So that's just why I created that through my book. And we're going to continue with our, what is it, three more episodes?
Three
Three
more
episodes.
episodes.
And the next episode we will be talking about on this layered journey of forgiveness is, what if they never apologize?
Mhm.
Releasing without closure. And I
Wow.
put closure in quotes for a reason, because closure, we're thinking, oh, we want them to, you know what? But the closure is really what God wants us to have. That type of closure. It's a
Mhm.
different type of closure. We'll talk on more details of that.
Exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited about that too, because that was my thing. But what if she has never apologized, y'all?
Mhm.
And it's
Mhm.
okay, because I'm watching her heal and her heart heal, and I'm healing.
Yeah.
And I feel good about it. I really do. And I want other people to experience this freedom. So thank you.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
for joining me today.
It was good.
It
It was
was
good.
good. It felt
And
good.
follow
I'm
Dawn.
sorry.
Uh-huh.
Wait. Well, I wanted to talk about you first, but okay. Follow me. You can
Oh.
follow me on this channel of Empowered Journeys with Dawn. And then on my Instagram is Coach Dawn Thurland. Facebook is at Dawn Thurland. You can reach out to me at Della Dawn, Della Dawn Life Coaching at my email if you have any questions. And then my website, but we're going to be doing something different with my website. But currently, the website I have is Della Dawn Life Coaching. What was it?
Big cartel.
Bigcartel.com. Yeah, see, I'm trying to read. Now, this is what I wanted to talk about first, to get in touch with Clivia Allen. Her YouTube channel is at Her Chosen Story with Clivia. And it's pronounced Clivia, not Clavia. It's Clivia. And her Instagram is her chosen story with Clivia, and it's underscore between with and Clivia.
Mhm.
So join us for next week. Go to her website. Her website has everything. If you missed anything that I just said, all the things about Clivia is at Clivia Allen, and everything that God has produced so far, thus far. I know there's more through her is on that her website. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. I pray to see you back next week. Are you? Do you have something else to do?
I'm excited because the next topic, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Mhm.
And I always say on my platform and now everywhere that I speak, you are chosen
Yes.
for such a time as this. And I'm just excited for this journey of forgiving forward.
Yes. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.